Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to be deconstructing the 2026 Japanese Grand Prix. Now, this was a race that was absolutely packed with action, but you know what? It was all defined by a single pivotal moment, a bit of luck that completely reshaped the championship picture.
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with that chaotic first lap, then get into the strategies that started to play out. After that, we hit the big one, the safety car, that changed everything. Then we'll look at the incredible fights to the finish, and of course, what it all means for the final standings. Okay, first up, that shocking start. I mean, the second the lights went out at Suzuka, the entire grid, so carefully set, was just thrown into chaos. So you might be asking, how did this all happen? Well, take a look. From all the way back in P3, Oscar Piastri in that McLaren gets an absolutely phenomenal launch. He just gets the power down perfectly, way better than the guys in front, and boom, he surges past both Mercedes cars to snatch the lead going into turn 1. Meanwhile, the Silverados, they just get completely bogged down. Pole sitter Antonelli drops like a stone, all the way to 6th place. Just incredible.
Right, so that early chaos, it basically set the stage for a super tense first part of the race. All those front runners who lost places had to start clawing their way back, which meant everyone's strategy books were thrown wide open right from the start.
But even with those terrible starts, you could tell the Mercedes had raw pace. They immediately started to fight back, and George Russell, he was on an absolute mission. He just sliced past Lando Norris, then Charles Leclerc, to get back into P2. You could really see the car's speed as he set his sights on Piastri in the lead.
And this is where the strategy game really kicks into high gear. Lap 17, the pit window opens up. Lando is the first to blink. Then, a couple laps later, the race leader, Piastri, comes in. This hands the lead to Russell, but he's straight on the radio telling his team, hey, I think I'm losing a ton of time by staying out here. It's that classic F1 chess match, right? Do you go for the undercut to get track position, or do you stay out longer, hoping for a tire advantage later on? A huge call to make.
Okay, and this is it. The absolute turning point of the entire Grand Prix. We're talking about a moment of just unbelievable luck for one driver and at the same time, completely crushing bad luck for another. Lap 22. This is the moment it all changed. Everything that had happened up to this point, Piastri's amazing start, Russell's incredible recovery drive, it was all about to be wiped clean, reset by one single incident that basically handed the win to someone else.
Just look at this timeline. It lays out the perfect storm. So, Piastri pits on lap 19. Then, Russell finally comes in from the lead on lap 22. But just moments after he enters the pit lane, Oliver Behrman has a massive 50G crash. And just like that, the safety car comes out. For Russell, it's a disaster. But for his teammate Antonelli, who hadn't pitted yet, it was like winning the lottery. He gets what we call a cheap pit stop, losing way less time than everyone else, and he comes back out on track, still in the lead. Unbelievable.
And you can just hear the heartbreak in George Russell's voice. This radio message from the very next lap, it just says everything, doesn't it? He'd done all the hard work, fought back from that bad start to lead the race, and then, just like that, he watches a potential win just evaporate, and there was absolutely nothing he could do about it.
So, with the whole race order scrambled and Antonelli now out in front, the second half of the Grand Prix turned into an all-out brawl. We had intense wheel-to-wheel battles up and down the grid all the way to the very end.
Let's zoom in on that nail-biting fight for the final podium spot. You had Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari with a very, very frustrated George Russell breathing down his neck for the last few laps. But Leclerc was just masterful. He put that car in exactly the right place every single corner, hitting every apex, especially in the key braking zones. He never gave Russell a clean shot. It was a textbook display of defensive driving under huge pressure, and it's what got him that P3 finish.
And you know what? That wasn't the only epic battle. A little further back, Pierre Gasly and the Alpine put on an absolute clinic in defensive driving against, a four-time world champion in Max Verstappen. For the entire second half of the race, Verstappen was glued to his gearbox, probably with DRS wide open on the straights, but Gasly was just flawless. He nailed his corner exits every single time to keep his nose in front. To hold on for P7 by just 0.3 of a second, with that kind of pressure behind you, that is just incredible driving.
So, after all that action, all that strategy, and a huge dose of luck, what did the final results look like? Let's take a look at the classification, and more importantly, what this means for the championship.
And here are the final standings. Kimi Antonelli takes a commanding win, pulling out a gap of over 13 seconds to Oscar Piastri. And hey, what a fantastic result for McLaren, their first podium of the year. Charles Leclerc's brilliant defense netted him a hard-earned third place, just keeping the very unlucky George Russell behind him in fourth.
But really the most important number to come out of this entire weekend is this one. 9. That is Kimi Antonelli's brand new points lead in the Drivers' Championship.
And with that victory, he made history. Kimi Antonelli is now the youngest driver in the entire history of Formula One to lead the World Championship. I mean, what a remarkable achievement. It really just shows you what a meteoric rise this has been.
You know, the winner himself was refreshingly honest about it all. He came right out and said, "I had a terrible start, but then I was lucky with the safety car." But he also made a key point. Once he got into the lead, his pace was, in his words, just incredible. It really was that perfect storm, right? A huge slice of luck combined with blinding speed.
Which leaves us with the big question from this race, doesn't it? Was this a victory of pure, raw pace, or was it all down to a perfect, race-defining moment of luck? You know, Antonelli's speed after that restart was immense. No one can deny that. But would he have won without the safety car? The answer, as it so often is in this sport, is probably a little bit of both. And it's that incredible mix of skill and fortune that has just given us a brand new, history-making leader at the top of the championship.